I simply couldn't believe what I was seeing. Joni, my wife of 7 years, was on a table in the dining car with Jim, her friend, having intimacy with him. I looked around thinking there had to be an attendant or a waiter somewhere, but oddly enough, there wasn't. At that moment, whatever love I had for my wife died. This was supposed to be a fun excursion for the two of us to reconnect. I was surprised when she told me that Jim, a friend of hers from work, would be there. She insisted he was a friend to both of us, but in truth, I didn't care for the guy and I couldn't think of any reason why he wanted to tag along at the time, but now I knew. I also knew I would need evidence for my divorce. Oh yeah, we were finished. Sure, the sight of them on the table got me a bit excited, but there was no way I was going to stand for this total disrespect. I pulled out my cell phone and began recording their tryst on video. I had no desire to watch or hear what they had to say. It seemed like they had intimacy forever on that table, and I couldn't believe how rough Jim was with her. She seemed to even enjoy it. Maybe I should have been rough with her, but that just wasn't my style. Finally, they stopped, and Joni straightened out her dress, giving Jim her panties, the sexy new panties I thought she bought for me. He smiled and brought them up to his face, taking in her aroma. "We have to be careful," she said as they took their seats. "If George finds out about us, he won't be happy at all." "Ah, that wimpy Jim said with a sneer. "We've been intimate for the last year and he's never found out." What, I thought to myself. This has been going on for a year? I knew things had been a bit strained between Joni and I, with my work schedule being so harried, but damn it, that's what kept a roof over our heads. Sure, Joni worked too, but her salary, such as it was, went to pay for things she wanted. Her clothes, accessories, trips to the salon, and so forth. That was the whole idea of taking a few days off to travel a bit by rail and see the sights and spend time in each other's arms. "So, are you going to make him clean up after me when you get back to him?" Jim asked. "That would be so wicked, wouldn't it?" she replied. "Did you do like I said about the birth control?" he asked. Joni nodded her head. "Yeah, I quit taking it so you could knock me up. I told George I was on my period this week, so he won't be expecting any intimacy." They both had a good laugh at that. "So why do you stay with him? You obviously don't love him or you wouldn't be doing this to him," Jim asked. "Well, it's not that I don't love him. I like him enough, but I just don't have that burning love for him anymore. Besides, he brings in a good paycheck, and you know I couldn't live off what I make." "So you're staying with him for the money?" he said. She nodded her head. "Pretty much. Hell, I could never afford the accommodations he got on this trip, and neither could you. So, when do you want to get together again?" he asked. "I don't know, maybe later this evening after he goes to sleep," she replied. I saw and heard enough, and ended the video. I made my way back to the sleeper car where Joni and I stayed and considered my options. Divorce was a given, but there had to be something more. Both she and her idiot boyfriend needed to pay. I called Fred, my lawyer. "Fred Juergens," the man said as he answered the call. "Fred, this is George. I need you to start preparing divorce papers for me, and I want the prenuptial enforced," I said. "Divorce? Are you sure about this?" Fred asked, surprised. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," I said. "On what grounds?" Fred asked. "Adultery? I have video I can send you if you need proof." "Yeah, do that. I've got the prenup here, so it shouldn't take too long to get it set up. When do you want her served?" "The sooner the better. We'll be back in Springfield in a couple days, so maybe you can have her served at the train station. I also need to find out what I can about her boyfriend, Jim Simpson. He works with her." "I'll get our investigator on it. Send me the video and I'll take a look. Don't do anything stupid, got it?" "Yeah, right. You know me," I answered. "Yeah, I do. That's why I said not to do anything stupid." Fred always made me laugh. We ended the call and I sent Fred the video. Then I sat back and thought for a minute about what else to do. I pulled out my tablet and connected my phone to it. After transferring the video to the tablet, I turned on the phone's hotspot and used that to connect my tablet to our home network through a VPN, or virtual private network. I had that set up some time back so I could safely access my files from anywhere in the world. The first thing I did was log into our banking and do the typical dance, closing joint cards, moving funds around, etc. I didn't want to take any chances, even with the prenuptial agreement. I had another evil thought. Joni liked to use the home computer for her personal emails. Fortunately, she wasn't too bright about things like security, so I was able to log into her webmail account with a couple clicks. I copied the video first to the tablet, then to the home computer. With her webmail client open, I wrote an email trying to sound like her. I used a cheesy subject line that sounded like hers, like, "Check out my fun train trip." In the body, I wrote, "Check out what I do while my clueless hubby sleeps." I then attached the video to the email and sent it to everyone on her contact list. That's right, friends, family, her co-workers, you name it. I looked it over for a minute, then hit send. Forget it, I thought to myself. I opened the door to our compartment just in time to see one of the attendants. I motioned for him to come over when he looked up at me. "Is everything all right, sir?" he asked. "Well, my wife says she wants to move to another cabin. Can you tell me what cabin a Jim Simpson is located in?" The attendant consulted his tablet for a moment before answering. "You want your wife's stuff moved into that cabin? Are you sure? That's in the economy class and isn't anywhere near as nice as this." "That's life," I said. He nodded his head in understanding. "I see. Sure. I'll help you get her stuff packed up." We worked fast, not really caring how nice her clothes were packed. Once we finished, I helped the attendant take her stuff to his cabin, which was less than half the size ours is. I laughed as I tossed her things on his little bunk bed. Let her deal with that, I thought to myself. "I'll need to make her a new key card," he said. He grabbed a white card out of his pocket and slid it through a magnetic writer connected to his tablet. He looked at me when he finished. "Do you know where she is?" he asked. I nodded my head. "I know where she was the last time I saw her," I said. "Lead on," he said. We made our way through the train and entered the dining car. Joni and Jim were still making goo-goo eyes at each other when we came up to them. I sat down in one of the chairs at the table, and the attendant got Joni's attention. "Yes?" she asked, looking perturbed. "I need to give you your new key card and collect the old one." She looked surprised. "What do you mean?" she asked. "Apparently there was a mix-up in cabin assignments, so I need to give you your new key," he said. This guy was as cool as a cucumber, I thought. Aggravated, Joni pulled out her key card and handed it to the attendant. He smiled and gave her the new card. "Thank you," he said. "Have a nice trip." He turned and walked away. Joni looked at me, angry. "What the hell are you doing?" she asked. "I'm just making it easier for you and Jim to play around," I said. Her eyes grew wide. "What do you mean?" she asked. "You think I don't know about the two of you?" I asked. Joni started to look nervous. She glanced at Jim and he looked perturbed. He looked at her key card and noticed the cabin number. "Wait, that's a key for my cabin." I nodded my head. "I figured that way you two wouldn't have to be intimate on the dining room table. I realize it may be a bit cramped, but that's the way it goes. By the way, did Joni ever tell you about the prenup she signed when we got married?" "What are you talking about?" Jim asked. "Well, if you're going to be intimate with someone's wife, you should find out a little bit about her first. Don't you agree?" I asked. "Look, it was just all in fun. We didn't mean anything," he replied. Joni spoke up. "That's right, George. It was all just fun. It doesn't affect our marriage in the slightest." "Really?" I asked, pulling out my tablet. I advanced the video to the part where they were talking and pressed the play icon. "Listen to this," I said. "I like him enough, but I just don't have that burning love for him anymore. Besides, he brings in a good paycheck, and you know I couldn't live off what I make," Joni's voice said in the video. "So you're staying with him for the money," Jim said in the video. She nodded her head. I stopped the video and looked at her. "So I'm nothing but a walking paycheck to you?" I asked. "Sweetheart," she began. I stopped her. "You don't ever get to call me sweetheart, dear honey, or anything else. I don't think you should even call me by my first name. I think you should call me Mr. Duvalier. And since you don't consider yourself married to me, I'll be taking these," I added, pulling her wedding and engagement rings off. "And I'll be taking this," I added, grabbing her purse and removing her house key from the large key ring she kept there. I took my wedding ring off and placed it in front of Jim. "You can have this. I have no further need of it. The prenup that she signed, Jim, says that in the event of infidelity, the guilty party, in this case Joni, receives absolutely nothing. I'll let her have her clothes and her jewelry, but that's it. I don't think she'll be able to keep up with the payments on her car. Fortunately, I had the paperwork done in her name, so it'll be her credit rating that takes a hit." "You bastard," he said, starting to stand up. I grabbed a fork and moved to stab his hand. He sat back down. "Don't mess with me, idiot," I said. "Please," Joni said, tears welling up in her eyes. "Mr. Duvalier, please don't do this. I've learned my lesson. Can't you forgive me and we can put this behind us?" "No," I said, rewinding the video to the point where they began talking about knocking Joni up. I played the video so they both could hear clearly. "The two of you have been doing this to me for a year, and you plotted to get knocked up by Jim and pass the kid off as mine," I hissed, looking at Joni. "Right now, I hate your guts, and I wish to God I'd never laid eyes on you." I looked at Jim before speaking again. "You wanted the lying, cheating woman. You got her. Good luck. I imagine she won't be getting much support from her family and friends." "What do you mean?" Joni asked. I shrugged my shoulders. "Check your email," I said. She pulled out her phone and opened her mobile email app. Her eyes grew wide. "What did you do?" she asked. "I just shared your memories with your family and friends. You looked like you were having such a great time. I just knew you'd love to share it with others." "You bastard. My parents just disowned me and my sister says she never wants to see me again. My friends think I'm a two-bit slut and they all hate me now." "Can you blame them?" I asked calmly. "I gave you 7 of the best years of my life. I loved you exclusively all that time and never even thought of another woman. Worked my off for you. Bought that big house you just had to have, bought you that new BMW. I never once complained when you spent all of your money on yourself, and I never complained when you went out supposedly to be with the girls. And what did I get in return? You rip my heart out, you cheat on me, and you kill our marriage. So I don't blame them one bit." "Please, just give me another chance," she begged. I shook my head. "No, you could have ended this at any time, but you chose not to. So this is the end of the line. You chose your bed, now you get to sleep in it. I hope it was all worth it to you. I expect you'll be served when we hit Springfield. Just sign the papers and be done with it. Then you and Jim can intimate with each other to death for all I care. Mr. Duvalier, is there anything I can do to make this up to you? I'll do anything." I stood up and thought for a moment before answering. "Yeah, there is one thing. Actually, 2 things." Her eyes lit up in anticipation. "Eat and die." She collapsed in tears as I turned and walked away. I fought back tears as I made my way back to my cabin. After I closed and locked the door, my phone rang. It was her parents. Apparently, they saw the video I sent them. "George, what the hell is going on?" Joni's father, Cliff, asked. "Hi, Cliff. I caught your daughter having intimacy with another man. I took the video and I sent it to you. I'm having divorce papers drawn up based on the prenuptial. I expect she'll be served when the train hits Springfield. I wanted you to know why I'm divorcing her." "Isn't there any way you can overlook this?" he asked. "I mean, divorce is so drastic." "No, Cliff. If you listen to what your daughter and her lover said, you'll know there's no way I can get past her cheating. I'm nothing but a paycheck to her, that's it. She even wanted to have me raise some other man's child." "That stupid girl," he said. "So, I hear you disowned her," I said. "No, I asked her to give me one good reason not to disown her. I'm still waiting," he replied. "Well, for what it's worth, I'm glad that you had us sign that prenup," I said. "This probably wasn't the way you envisioned things happening, but you did me a big favor." "I'm sorry, George. You're right, and I've since grown to love you like the son I never had." "I think the world of you as well," I said. "Is there anything we can do?" he asked. "Actually, there is. Do you guys still have that extra key to the house I gave you?" "Yes, we do," he said. "Would you mind getting a truck and picking up her stuff out of the house? I won't be in town for another couple of days, and I don't want her in the house. I'll reimburse you for the truck." "Sure, we can do that. What about her car?" he asked. "You can take that as well, but I'm not sure how long she'll be able to keep it. Maybe you can teach her how to do a budget, or maybe she can trade it in for something she'll be able to afford." "Okay," he said. "Look, George, I'm really sorry about all this." "Not your fault," I said. We said goodbye and ended the call. The phone rang the second I put it in my pocket. It was Joni's cousin, Lisa. I answered the call. "What do you want, Lisa?" I asked. "So you finally know about Joni?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "I take it you're going to divorce the no-good woman?" she asked. "Of course, already have things in the works." "Good. You know I've always had the hots for you." Truth was, I found Lisa to be smoking hot as well, but I was married to her cousin, so that made her off limits. "Well, you're pretty hot yourself," I said. Lisa had this thing about wearing short skirts and tiny, ripped short shorts around me, and it always got me excited. "So you have noticed," she said. "Of course," I told her. "So, now that you've kicked the cheating woman out, do you think we can hook up?" she asked. "Maybe once the divorce is final," I replied. "Okay, I understand. I've waited 7 years for you, so I guess I can wait a few more months. Then I'm going to blow your mind and take care of you in every way. I'll see you when you get back." The call ended, leaving me feeling excited. Something good might come out of all this after all. The next 2 days went by pretty fast for me. Most of my time was spent on the phone. I rarely ventured out of my cabin so I wouldn't have to face the 2 cheaters. I had heard from Fred, who told me what I suspected. Jim Simpson was a well-known womanizer who had been divorced twice for cheating. His last wife had also filed charges of domestic abuse against him. I figured that Joni would gravitate towards someone like that. But I hoped she would wake up in time and leave him. Shortly before the train pulled into Springfield, Joni knocked on my door. "Who is it?" I asked through the closed door. "It's me, Joni," she said. "What do you want?" I asked. "I want my husband back," she cried. "Tough luck," I said. "I want a loyal and faithful wife who loves me, but I didn't get that, did I?" "Please, I made a mistake," she cried. "You went way beyond mistake. Get out of here before I call security. You're supposed to be in the economy section," I replied. "Please, can't we just talk?" she cried. "No, go away. I never want to see you again." I heard her sniffle as she walked away. A part of me was sad for her, but I really didn't give a shit. She brought this all on herself with her lying, cheating, and disrespect. I got off the train and looked around to see if I could spot her and Jim. I saw them a few cars away, getting off the train. Neither one of them looked too happy. Tough shit, I thought to myself. As I looked, a man approached Joni and handed her a manila envelope. She opened it, then collapsed in tears. I smiled and walked away. I got in my car and made my way home. I noticed that Joni's car was gone and all of her stuff had been taken, including a few pieces of furniture she had when we first married. I put my things away and went through the house, taking down all the pictures that included her. I wanted nothing to remind me of the cheating woman. A couple of hours later, I heard a knock on the door. I looked through the window and saw Lisa. God, she looked hot in those shorts. I opened the door and let her come in. She carried a large dish of something that smelled like lasagna. She walked in as though she owned the place and set the dish on the kitchen counter. When she turned back to me, I looked her over. She wore a short t-shirt that came just below her breasts. Her shorts were shorter than I remembered, with just a tiny bit of material between her legs. "I wanted to make sure you had something good to eat. I don't want you to get hungry," she said. "Thanks, Lisa, I appreciate that." Her eyes sparkled as she smiled. "Would you care to stay and have dinner with me?" "I'd love to," she said. "You go get washed up, I know where everything is." I headed upstairs and washed myself up quickly before going back. By the time I got back, the table had already been set and Lisa had even poured us each a glass of wine. I pulled out a chair for her and admired her shapely thighs as she sat down. She grabbed my plate and dished out a nice chunk of lasagna, which was thick with meat and dripping with layers of cheese. This took a lot of work on her part, I thought. After she dished herself a small portion, I looked at her. "This looks delicious," I said. "Thanks. I love to cook, especially for someone I truly care about." Indeed, the lasagna was as tasty as it looked, and I ate every bite, even cleaning the plate with a piece of garlic bread she made. "You must have been hungry," she said. "There's no way I'm wasting food this good. That was the best lasagna I've ever tasted." She smiled as she came next to me. "I'm glad you liked it," she said, sitting in my lap. "There's lots more where that came from. And maybe someday I'll even bring you dessert," she added, lifting her shirt up to reveal her nicely shaped B-cup breasts. "I need to get home and feed my cat, but I'll be by tomorrow." "I can't wait," I said. She smiled as she stood. "This is just a preview of what I have in store for you. I guess I'll just have to let little George take care of me until your divorce is final." "Little George?" I asked. "That's what I call my vibrator. I like to fantasize about you being intimate with me while I use it on myself." "I see. Well, let's hope Joni doesn't fight the divorce." We kissed for a while before Lisa left. Fortunately, Joni didn't fight the divorce. Apparently, she realized I had her dead to rights and decided to end the marriage. The two of them were able to keep their jobs, but from what I heard, it was by the skin of their teeth. She signed the paperwork and called me to apologize and tell me that it was a done deal. Fred called to let me know the signed papers were filed and I would be a free man in 30 days. Was I happy? I was glad to be rid of a cheating wife, but a part of me felt like something was missing. I had loved this woman exclusively for years and had hoped to retire with her, surrounded by children and grandchildren, but that wasn't meant to be. I was also frustrated that I hadn't gotten any revenge on Jim. I had thought about filing for alienation of affection, but Fred said that was a waste of time. I thought about beating him to a pulp, but decided against it, since I had no desire to go to jail. Lisa came by every evening with something she had prepared, and we would share the evening meal. She even marked my calendar, counting down the days until the divorce would become final. She was a relentless tease, and even gave me a couple of DVDs filled with selfies and homemade videos of her with little George. Soon enough, the 30 days were over, and I got the paperwork saying it was a done deal. I was surprised that I didn't hear anything from Joni, as I figured she would have called or done something stupid by now, but she didn't. Lisa didn't wait for me to call. She came over that day and knocked on the door. I thought that strange, as I had already given her a key to the house and told her she was welcome over any time. I opened the door and got the shock of my life. There she was on the front porch, standing completely naked. I brought her inside and kissed her hard, rubbing my hands all over her smooth skin. She kissed me back just as hard, tearing my clothes off the whole time. As we held each other, I knew that I had to be with this woman for the rest of my life. She must have thought the same thing. She turned on her side and looked me in the eye. "I've always loved you, George. I'll never do to you what my stupid cousin did. I want to spend the rest of my life right here with you." "So, does that mean you'll marry me?" I asked. She smiled and threw her arms around me. "Yes, baby. I'll marry you and make you the happiest man on earth." We kissed and made love some more before falling asleep in each other's arms. A few days later, I got a call from Joni's father. Lisa and I had just finished making love and were laid back on the bed, watching a movie while sharing a bowl of popcorn. "George, Joni's in the hospital," he said. I sat up, surprised. "What happened?" I asked. "That asshole she's with beat her half to death. I told her to call the cops, but she refused." "Is she going to be okay?" I asked. "Eventually, but I don't think she will be for long if she stays with him," he said. "All right, we'll head over and check it out," I said. "We?" her father asked. "Yeah, Lisa and I said. "Lisa's there with you?" he asked. "Yeah, I couldn't have gotten through this without her." "Okay, I understand. I'll meet you at the hospital," he replied. After we ended the call, I explained to Lisa what happened and told her what I had learned about Jim Simpson. We were both pissed at Joni for what she did, but neither one of us wanted her physically hurt. We cleaned up, dressed, and headed to the hospital. After talking to the nurse, we were led to her room. She looked horrible. Her face was black and blue, and one eye was swollen shut. One arm was in a cast, and an IV was dripping fluid in the other. She moaned weakly as we came into the room. I wanted to hold her and tell her everything would be okay, but didn't. "Mr. Duvalier," she said, a tear streaming down her cheek. I held up my hand to stop her. "George is fine," I said. "What happened?" "Jim wanted to use my car to take his date out, and I told him no. He got pissed off and started hitting me, calling me names. I told him that was my car and nearly half of my check goes to making the payments, and there's no way I'd let him use it to impress some woman. He wouldn't stop beating me until I threatened to call 911. That's when he took off. I don't know where he is. I had a real hard time breathing and my chest hurt real bad, so I called 911 and they came and brought me here." "Did you tell the cops what happened?" Lisa asked. "No, I was afraid to. I thought if he was taken to jail, he'd kill me when he got out." I shook my head at the thing I was hearing. "So let me get this right. You ran off to live with the guy you were cheating on me with, and he's now cheating on you. Is that right?" She sobbed as she nodded her head. "Yeah, I really messed up, didn't I?" "Yes, you did," Lisa said. "But you don't deserve this. He committed a crime and he needs to be locked up." "Joni," I said, "did you know he has a history of domestic violence?" "I knew he could be a bit rough, but no, I didn't," she said. Lisa wrapped her arms around her cousin and tried to comfort her. Joni noticed the diamond ring on her finger. "Are you engaged?" Joni asked. Lisa smiled and nodded her head. "Yeah, George and I are getting married." Joni began sobbing, her tears soaking Lisa's t-shirt. "But you're still my cousin, and I still love you even though I think you're a stupid woman for what you did to George." Just then, Joni's parents came into the room. They were furious when Lisa and I told them what happened. "All right," Cliff told Joni. "We'll stay here with you, and we'll move you back into the house when you get discharged. You'll stay with us until you can get back on your feet." He looked at me and motioned me into the hallway. "What do you know about this Simpson guy?" he asked. I told him what I had learned from Fred, and he nodded his head, taking mental notes. "And you say he works with Joni?" "Yes," I said. He nodded his head some more. "Okay, I'll take care of Simpson. I'm not going to get into it with you. You don't need to know the details, trust me. What's with you and Lisa?" "Well, she helped me get through the divorce and we're now engaged," I said. He smiled as he nodded his head. "I'm not surprised. She's always had a thing for you. Congratulations. At least you'll still be a part of the family." "Thanks. Is there anything I can do to help with Simpson?" He shook his head. "No, I got this covered. Besides, you're going to be married soon, and the last thing Lisa needs is to have her new husband in jail. The less you know, the better." Cliff went down the hall talking to someone on his cell phone. I headed back into Joni's room. Joni's mother looked at us. "I'll stay with her tonight," she said. "Cliff will arrange to get her things from that man's apartment. Thank you for coming by." "You're welcome," I said, giving her a hug. Joni looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry," she said, "for everything. Can you forgive me?" I thought for a moment before speaking. "I think so," I said, cognizant of the two other women looking at me. "After all, we're still going to be family." "Thank you," she said. I walked over and gave her a goodbye hug. "You get well," I said, lightly kissing her forehead. "Take good care of him," Joni told Lisa. Lisa smiled and nodded her head. "I intend to," she said. We left the hospital and headed home. I had no idea what Cliff had in mind regarding Jim, but I had heard stories about his time in the military. I also knew he had friends in high and low places, so I kept an eye on the local news, even checking the obituaries. I didn't see anything there, but a small story did pop up in the local paper a week later about a man getting mugged and severely beaten outside a local bar. According to the story, the man, identified as Jim Simpson, was confronted by a group of men who ended up breaking 3 of his ribs, his jaw, a kneecap, and an arm. The story also said something about his testicles getting severely injured. I had to laugh at that. Cliff got Joni's things from the apartment and moved her back into his home. Her parents hated what she did to me, but she was still their daughter, and they still loved her. Lisa and I married a couple of months later. Since her parents had died several years ago in a car crash, Cliff walked her down the aisle and shook my hand. Joni came with her parents and cried as the preacher pronounced us husband and wife. We had a great honeymoon in Las Vegas, where Lisa screwed my brains out as often as she could. After we got back, we moved her things into the house. She decided that since I made more than enough for the 2 of us, she would quit her job. "I have a new job now," she told me. "What's that?" I asked. "Keeping you happy?" she said with a wicked smile. And she did. Then one day, a few months later, she hit me up with the 4 words every husband dreads. "We need to talk," she said after I came home from work. "Is something wrong?" I asked, dreading her response. "Well, we'll need to remodel one of the bedrooms." "Why?" I asked. She smiled. "Because you're going to be a daddy." I jumped for joy and wrapped her in my arms, covering her face with kisses. "Are you happy?" she asked. "I'm the happiest man in the world," I said. "Then take me upstairs and show me just how happy you are, big guy," she said. I did, again and again. Yeah, I thought, sometimes life hands you lemons, and sometimes you get something much better in return. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.